It's almost summer, well, it is at least in my head. I wish it was. So to kind of pretend it's nice and summery, we're gonna make one of my favorite summertime treats. We're gonna make ice cream. Now this ice cream is made with a classic custard base, and don't worry, it's definitely easier than you think, but we're also gonna infuse the base in peanuts to make a delicious peanut ice cream. But the flavor doesn't stop there, we're gonna take it one step further, and what we're gonna do is, as the ice cream's finishing churning, we're gonna fold through some pieces of kind of broken up caramel, like a hard caramel, that will add these pops of really nice kind of rich, bitter caramel flavor that really makes this ice cream flavor just so insanely good. So for the ice cream, we're gonna toast the peanuts, and I'm using salted peanuts, until fragrant and lightly browned. We're then gonna pour these into a bowl and let them cool for a couple of minutes before adding them to a Ziploc bag and using a rolling pin to crush these into smaller pieces. We're then gonna add that to the pan along with our milk and our cream and vanilla, and then we're gonna bring that to the boil, pop a lid on it, turn off the heat, and allow it to infuse for a good couple of hours. At this point, we're gonna bring it to a simmer and then strain it so we can discard the peanuts. Now it's time for the custard, and I promise this is easier than you think. You just have to follow a couple of key steps. So we're gonna add our egg yolks and our sugar to a bowl and whisk those until they're nice and pale. We need to make sure that we don't let the sugar and the yolks just sit on top of each other without whisking, because the egg yolk will form these lumps. That's really hard to get rid of, and it's just not very pleasant. Then what we're gonna do is pour over our milk and whisking it just to combine, making sure that the egg yolks don't cook. Then we're gonna pour that back into the pan, and this is the important part. We're gonna stir constantly over a low, medium heat so that the custard doesn't catch and form a curdled mess. We're gonna cook it until it gets to about 75 degrees Celsius, or until it coats the back of a wooden spoon. And then we're gonna pour that into a bowl, and we need to chill that ice cream down. And there's a couple of ways of doing that. You can either put the bowl into another bowl that's filled with ice and stir that until it's nice and cold, or you can just throw it in the fridge for a few hours until it's nicely chilled. So the reason we wanna do that is ice cream base that's been chilled will freeze quicker, which means we get less ice crystals and we get a much more pleasing texture. So when our ice cream is ready to churn, we're just gonna pop that into our ice cream machine and churn it according to the manufacturer's instructions, just because every machine is slightly different. Now, as that machine starts going, what we're gonna do is quickly make a caramel. So just add our sugar to a pan, and over medium heat, we're gonna allow it to cook until it's melted and it's turned a really rich, dark brown caramel color. We're then gonna add some salt, very quickly stir that together, swirl it together, and then pour that out onto a either silicone sheet or a parchment lined baking tray, spreading it out until it's nice and thin. Now that'll cool really quickly and go really hard really quickly. So by the time that the ice cream is churned, we're ready to add it. So just smash it into little pieces and then add that to the ice cream and let it mix through for a minute or two before turning off the machine and then scraping that ice cream into some sort of container. I like to use a loaf pan. Just make sure it's covered and then pop it back in the freezer for a few hours until it's firm. So once the ice cream has firmed up a little bit in the freezer, you'll find it has one big advantage. It's perfectly scoopable straight from the freezer. So it's not rock hard, it's really nice and scoopable. And the best bit is it's so delicious. Has this really nice peanut flavor that's kind of really like peanuts rather than peanut butter, but also these little pops of bitterness from the caramel really take the flavor up a notch and just really makes this such a delicious, delicious ice cream. It's so good. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because next week I'm going to show you how to take this ice cream and turn it into the most delicious ice cream sandwich you've ever had. So leave me a comment down below what cookie and toppings maybe you think this ice cream sandwich should be made with, and I will be back next week.